Welcome to a pre-draft, about a week before, live hang edition of Clips and Dip. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Osden. William Updike will be here, maybe Joseph Fry Ward. We're kind of just shooting the breeze today. Welcome if you're new. If you're listening to this, because we're going to put it out, you can watch us at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. You can hit subscribe to let you know when we're live, which is always a fun time. We're going to talk Lavar Ball. We're going to talk some of these Clippers pre-draft workouts. There's a betting favorite thing happening. But Adam, since we have time, since you are taking time out of a party to be here, which we do appreciate, what's with the Lavar Ball, LaMelo Ball to the Clippers videos? Like, do we think LaMelo actually wants to come to the Clippers? What's up, Jeffrey Beltran? Oh, Adam bailed. All right, it's just me right now. So Lavar Ball has made two videos about the Clippers needing to trade for LaMelo, which the Clippers don't need LaMelo Ball. I don't even think it's possible to give the Hornets what they would want. We can get the Fanspo trade machine going, but LaMelo Ball, I don't want him on the Clippers because it's basically health and the fact that I'm not entirely sure he would bring as much team success to the team that other people do. Exactly, Alan. Lonzo Ball? I don't know. Lonzo Ball would be great. Maybe. There's health concerns with everyone in the Ball family. Adam Osland is back. He almost pranked me in a hilarious way, which would be to be here 5 minutes early and then leave as soon as I introduced him.
I pranked him so good. I got him.
I was just talking about LaMelo Ball or LaVar Ball. And do you think this is actually them communicating something that LaMelo Ball wants, or is this just for funsies?
I mean, I would think he'd want to just come home, come back to LA, and Charlotte doesn't have a ton going on and a ton of a direction. But he's getting paid handsomely there. They are invested in him. I kind of want to see what happens in this draft, depending on who they get. Could that lead to them moving on from LaMelo Ball earlier than maybe we would have thought? Like, if they were in the hunt for Dylan Harper, and when we were watching the draft process with the lottery balls, I thought if they get the number 2 pick, that would be really interesting because then they'd be in the mix for Dylan Harper. And then would you want to move on from LaMelo Ball? And that would make him more in play for somebody like the Clippers. But who knows? I just think LaVar Ball wants his son's home, and I'm sure they would like to come to LA as well.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. And I don't know. I mean, the Hornets are picking 4th. It's weird because I don't think the Spurs would take Harper, and no one knows, I guess, what the 76ers are going to do.
I think the Spurs will take him.
Really?
Like, just because they have other guards, I think they'll take best available and figure it out as they go along. And if they have to make another trade De'Aaron Fox down the line or Devin Vassell or Stephon Castle and just see what you have. Because unless they get KD, I don't know if they're necessarily in win now mode next season just because they have.
They can't be in win now. There's no experience to be in win now mode. Like, we don't know what they look like what Wemby looks. Not that I don't think he'll be great in the playoffs, but as we've seen, there can be surprises.
Unless they brought in KD or brought in and made the big trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think Dylan Harper can still fit in their timeline, even though they have some other similar players out there. Like, to me, you always should go best fit when you're in a situation like that, even when you have some of their talented guys out there. Best player over just fit. Just take the top end talent, because if you move it down the line, like, there are ways to reconfigure the team later.
Yeah, like you mentioned, timeline. The LaMelo trade also doesn't fit the Clippers timeline. I can't imagine what the Hornets would want in return. My big issue with LaMelo is over the last 3 seasons, Kawhi Leonard has played 52 more games than LaMelo Ball. And those 52 games are also more games than LaMelo has played in any of those 3 seasons, the max being 47 games. So
Seems
that
like
to
a lot.
me, maybe I've just been burned before, but that to me, for what we would have to give up, even to make the salaries work, and I'm assuming we're attaching some kind of draft compensation if this were to happen, that makes me not interested.
Ankle, wrist injuries, and also I don't know if the proper motivation is there in Charlotte. Like, I think it's clear that LaMelo Ball is a young player and may have some maturity issues, but it's also just kind of been a dysfunctional franchise for a while where they're trying to find their way. So I don't know. There's a lot of variables going on. I'm still interested in him just because he's young enough to overcome those injuries. You can look at it that way too. People brought up the Steph Curry comparison. Well, he had ankle injuries at first and then was pretty much routinely healthy till he had that wrist injury much later in his career. My biggest thing is if you're not getting LaMelo, who are you getting? Like, who's on the horizon? Who's going to be available later on of the young guys? Any young guy you bring in is going to have some flaws. With LaMelo, it's play style. Does he play winning basketball? And also there's injury issues. With Jonathan Kuminga, it could be play style. He's just more of an unknown, where his ceiling is, how much money you're going to have to invest in him for a player that's that unproven at this point. I just don't know who else is coming. Like, if you don't take a risk with some of these younger guys, Luka's about to sign an extension. SGA is about to sign an extension. You're not going to be able to get a lot of these guys through free agency anymore. That's kind of been my position. So I get you're talking about timeline stuff. Does LaMelo really fit where the Clippers are at? It depends on what you give up for him. Would the Clippers then shift into a different mode if they had a young player like LaMelo? Because some people think, well, they can't give up right now because they don't have their draft picks, and they want to still sell out into a dome. So you can't just go into a total rebuild. But if you have a core piece of the future on the team now, then do you start to pivot in a different direction where you just start bringing in young guys and let them grow together?
Yeah, that's a good call. I do like that kind of that does show the Clippers shift in kind of window or intention if they do trade for LaMelo, because they do get younger with that trade for sure. And him being a local guy and a star would help fill into it. I want to talk about this take from Alfredo Rodriguez real quick, though. My hot take: the NBA Finals might determine the Clippers' move. If OKC wins it, they may trade for Durant. Otherwise, they'll stay in working on the margins and looking to improve role players. I don't necessarily agree.
What's the logic? Why do they trade for Durant if OKC wins it versus if they don't? What does that mean?
There, baby. It is interesting now. Monty McNair's in the front office. You've talked about this a little bit, Adam. This isn't a huge deal, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to Monty McNair. Like, I feel like this happened and people looked up moves he's made, which, again, when he was part of that organization, your Kings, they weren't functioning at a high level, perhaps Hornets territory of how they were functioning in terms of owner and GM stuff. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like, this isn't someone who's going to be picking our draft picks.
He may have some influence there just because he has had a pretty solid track record with draft picks, but he's not he's a voice in the room. There's still Lawrence Frank. Below him is Trent Redden. Then below him is Mark Hughes. He's not leapfrogging any of those people, my understanding. I think it's a good spot for him because from what I heard, he didn't do a lot of the calling or wheeling and dealing. He was doing more of the backroom crunching numbers with analytics and researching on young players that way, but he wasn't like the vocal guy on the phone making those deals. That was Wes Wilcox with him before he left, right before Monty McNair had a parting of ways with the Kings back in April. So he's done some good things. There have been mixed results, as there are with any GM. But you can at least say he had the Kings with their most successful season in
Yeah.
about 20 years, and it hasn't been easy there. They've been dysfunctional.
Yeah, he was a big part of, I mean, obviously, like that groundswell of hype and belief that Sacramento had for a little bit, where it was like, oh, they're functioning, right? Like they're doing what you're supposed to be doing. They're making good organizational decisions, and then they took a hard left. But yeah, it's
I,
not.
for one, was very much against the Halliburton move on day one, and even when they made the playoffs with Sabonis, I was like, guys, the ceiling is low. Like this was not the correct move. So I disagreed about that, but I don't. It's also hard to know what did Monty McNair do and what was influence from ownership and Vivek, because he is said to be heavily involved at times with basketball operations.
Yeah, he's a volatile owner where you don't know. William Updike is in the waiting room, but he'll be back in a sec.
Keep waiting.
Yeah. It was Amir's birthday on Tuesday. The Clippers wished him a happy birthday, which was nice. He's a free agent. He's just still a free agent. Averaged 3.6 mil on his contract last year. What is the market for Amir Coffey?
I think it's taxpayer mid-level. So like, I think that's 5.7 million, somewhere around $6 million.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
that's like anything else is kind of a lot. No disrespect to Amir Coffey, but all right, we got William Updike clocking in. William, how are you?
Man? Clocking into the stream like I clock into work, baby.
It's 12 minutes late.
Right on time.
We're talking Amir Coffey. What do you think because he's a free agent currently. Adam, you had his value at what, like 5.7? Whatever the
I would guess, because like for him to do this, what was he making? 4 million this year with the Clippers?
I think he was making, his average was 3.6.
So he's looking for some type of raise. And given how dry the market is, especially for guys at his position, I think he could get around 6 million.
Yeah, Will, would you pay Amir 6 million to remain on this Clippers?
Not for this team, I don't think. Nah. He's not in the rotation.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back to the Clippers.
Yeah. I don't think he's coming back.
The further away we get from that series, the more upset I get that he wasn't healthier this season, so he could have gotten some playing time.
Yeah,
because he looked bad when they played him when he was back, right? Like I think it makes sense why he didn't play in the playoffs.
What did he get? 2 minutes against the Golden State in that game, 82?
Yeah, I think he was minus 12 in those 2 minutes now. But he just didn't have like. I think Will's right. Like if he's not in the rotation, it's just not in the.
I mean, like it would kind of suck to. It would kind of suck to see him go, because I have thought of him as, one of the few guys we've really been able to develop, from a late pick into a rotation player, but he's just not in the rotation. So I just don't see a utility there.
In the role or in the move of previous Clippers role players, Trez being the most recent one, do we think he ends up a Laker?
I think there's a decent chance they do have that taxpayer mid-level to use. I could see it happening. Jovan Buha has talked about it a little bit of The Athletic. It's possible.
Yeah. Formerly of The Athletic. Jovan, it was his last day today or the other day, I think.
Is that right? Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Dan Weike's done at the LA Times. It was like kind of a big day.
Oh my God.
I've been out of town a little bit. I did not know this.
45 minutes ago, he tweeted some news. This is Dan Weike, phenomenal reporter. Today's my last day at LA Times. I've been so fortunate to spend 8 years at one of the nation's top newspapers. I'll be sharing what's next soon, but I want to acknowledge how special the LAT has been to me. So he's moving on to something else. And then Jovan, formerly Clippers beat writer, moved on across the hall also said, yeah, he's departing the Athletic. It's his final day. He's also going to tell what's next later in the offseason. So kind of a big shift in LA sports writing right now.
Wow. Times are changing. Interesting. So it's like Bill Plaschke and Brad Turner and Dylan Hernandez?
Yeah.
That's it?
Basically. Whew, talk about a murderer's row of sports writers. Will, wanted to get your take. Someone said this in the chat. We were just talking about LaMelo. M says, I just want a young and fun team again.
I'm with you 1,000%, Am. I would just at the same time like a team that occasionally wins some games, and Hornets haven't done a whole lot of that. I know LaMelo isn't the only issue there, but I just don't see that being that great of a transition for the Clippers, if I'm going to be honest with you. And like, unless because of his availability, like you're able to get his next deal like well under a max, the max extension. I don't really know how you can build a team around that if you're thinking of, you know, just having a fun team in the intermediate and then, you know, hopefully taking a step or building towards something. I just don't know if he's the centerpiece. Not even I don't know. He's not the centerpiece to do that around.
Even with a big guy like
he's got like he's under contract for like 4 more years, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going up to about $40 million a year.
Let me check real quick. Adam, your audio's cracking a little bit. Just a heads up.
Yeah, you're crackling.
What the heck?
My favorite snack. I can't be mad at it. So he goes 25-26 will be $38 million. 26-27, $41 million. 27-28, $44 million. 28-29, $46 million. And then 29-30, which I think we can kind of probably lop off 28-29 because he'll probably sign an extension in between that. But
I guess what I'm saying,
free agent 29-30.
Yeah, so that is one thing, is like he is under contract for a long time, and with the cap going up, maybe that looks better. But like the turnaround time on this is longer than 3 seasons to build around LaMelo into some sort of contender, right? Like there's no fucking pathway right now to where if we make whatever the trade is to get LaMelo, whatever we have left, to build a contender around that, I think it's going to take more than 3 seasons. And at that point, you're looking at re-signing, and then things get very messy. They're already messy with the cap where it's at right now. If he's making $40 million a year, I just don't think you can build around that.
Adam, you're back.
It depends on, I guess, who that other guy is. I just don't know. Okay, you don't want Melo, you don't want Trey, you don't want Kuminga. Who are we getting, guys? Who's the next guy?
What's Trey's contract?
Trey has 1 year. Yeah. Ooh. It's a player option after this year. He's going to opt out. He could be available.
And that contract will be crazy because he is opting out of a $49 million deal.
But I think the reasoning is, thinking is that they're not going to offer him the max. So if they can't come to an agreement, he's going to most likely be shipped.
Gregory Elwood asking, why would it take 3 seasons if Kawhi, Harden, and Zoo are still on the team?
So
I don't think LaMelo and Harden can coexist on the court.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, that doesn't really work that well. And then especially because you're giving up a lot of role players in that scenario who are available ish. I guess DJJ had some injury issues, and Norm, I mean, this was his, well, not his least healthy season, but not what we had hoped for from a health perspective.
But Harden and LaMelo cannot.
I gotta be, and I gotta be real too. I gotta be real too. Like,
be real.
Let's even forget about Harden. Does Kawhi have 12 wins at like the? You see the level of physicality and like the level the game is played at now in the postseason. does Kawhi, as the best player on a team, have the physicality to drag a team through 12 wins to make a finals? Because I don't know. I got to be real with you. I don't know. I don't think so. Not as the best player on a team.
It is a fragile duo with LaMelo and Kawhi.
Well, and if you're trading for LaMelo, let's also be real here. You're giving up both those first round picks because that's probably what it's going to take. And then the matching, because they don't have anybody that's the centerpiece of the deal to try to match salaries with Melo that would be that enticing, I think, for the Charlotte Hornets. Like, why would they want to package so much around Norm and DJ and Bogey for Melo? So therefore, you're probably giving up 2030 and 2032 to make them do this deal.
Can we trade 2032?
You can after July 1st.
Yeah, it opens up this year.
I like what Noah Bullock says. That's like a once in a blue moon health overlap.
Yeah.
Fortunately, probably correct. Speaking of contracts, I should look up Harden's deadline is quasi soon.
It's June 30th.
Yeah, for 10 days for him to opt in or out. Which everything the scuttlebutt suggests he will be opting out and signing a contract that lines up with Kawhi's deal. Year-wise.
That's what we all assume. But it's been pretty quiet. And what if James Harden wants 3 years? That would cause a big shakeup, I think. Then we're talking, okay, if Harden's not coming back now, do you trade Kawhi because he wants to be on a team that's content? Like, what happens? That could be a huge ripple effect.
If Harden, I will say, I hadn't thought about this until you just said it, which means I have analyzed it for 47 seconds. But if Harden doesn't come back, then I say, yeah, like let's ship Kawhi, right? Like then screw it. Let's go like as young as we can with big trades or something like that.
Then keep Zoo and just try to maximize value.
Like because Harden is, I know we all appreciated what Harden did for very good reason, but like you take him off this team, what does this team look like if Harden isn't able to gut out the regular season?
Well, especially with the Norm injury, an extended Norm absence.
This
is a team that can barely score as is.
Right. The game against the Pistons that kind of turned the season around, that second night of a back-to-back when things were looking pretty rough after the All-Star break. Like, what does this team look like without James Harden? Like, that's and again, in this scenario, like Adam pointed out, we're losing him. We're not trading him for anything. He's just not, he's opting out and signing with another team. Like, that's tough. Chris Dunn and Norm Powell are the starting backcourt. That doesn't feel good.
I mean, it's not a 50-win team, I'll tell you that.
Right? Like, Adam, where are you at? Like, if Harden doesn't come back, I like that idea. I noted Adam. Oh, see, I called him out. And he left.
No, well, because in that scenario, too, you're also losing Harden for nothing.
Exactly.
Which,
like,
that'd be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow. Back-to-back free agencies where you lose a player for nothing. With the Paul George thing, I mean, we had to do it because of contract stuff. But yeah,
Adam's back.
Adam, you were thinking.
Adam took a think
too hard and shut the chat down.
I couldn't handle that blow it up scenario for the Clippers. Obviously, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I couldn't wrap my Wi-Fi around it. That's the big domino. I keep saying that, like, what if Harden wants 3 years? Like, does that change everything? Would the Clippers really do that? Because this could be seen as he's 36. He wants one more deal, 3 years, 100 million, 120 million, something like that. I think he could make that argument. Now, the Clippers gave up a first-round pick for him. So are they pot committed? Do they feel like they have to do it? I don't know.
I like this take from Nova Writer, who I did just ask if they actually write for Nova. No contender has the cap space he would want. Because that's the other thing. He probably, let's think about it. We talked about, like, this is LaMelo's best shot to make something happen with a team. Probably Harden's best shot too, if he wants 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
no, that's a good point. Everybody talks about Brooklyn is the only team that has cap space this summer, and I don't think they're running it back with James Harden. So does he have a ton of leverage? Probably not. And the Clippers don't either. Like, they lose him. Who are you getting? Who's replacing that production?
Malcolm Brogdon, come on down.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if it's 2 years, $80 million.
Yeah, I think 2 years, $80 million is something we should all be prepared for, which is worth it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
If the Clippers stick to this plan, it's worth it. Like, I know people,
as long as we're getting all these contracts to line up, so like Zoo is the only person on the roster. We can finally build around a true star. That'd be great.
So, like, this is like, why not blow it up? We can still be competitive and blow it up. No,
How?
You can't. Also, really blowing it up means trading Zoo. That, the value, he's the highest.
Well, in terms of getting value back, yeah. Like, Zoo's the only way you're getting a good first-round pick.
Like, we're not trading Harden for, like, multiple first-round picks. Kawhi's not going to be traded for multiple first-round pick. Like, blowing it up, I think, is a lot. And we wouldn't be competitive. How would we be competitive if James Harden's off the team and Kawhi's off the team? We have young guys and draft picks.
Yeah, in the Western Conference, based off of what in this hypothetical? Like, what type of blank canvas are you working with and saying, I can still find a way to make us competitive this season, blowing it up?
I mean, in terms of competitive, we're talking about where this team would be if just even Harden walked away.
Exactly, right. Like, they had to win, 10 of their final 12 to not end up in the play-in this year? And it cost them in the playoffs. I like this point by Ghost, and I do want to talk about this for a sec. Ghost says we're getting us the 6'4" center from Asia. So the Clippers workouts have been like, I thought we were maybe getting pranked, or this isn't real news. Like, the Clippers recently, if you listen to 2 episodes ago, we broke down their workouts where they've had some real workouts and some marketing. Interesting. Yeah. 2 days ago, they worked out the Bhutan Jokic for a training camp invite. They also invited Deadeye 3-point shooter of Nepal Himalayan Basketball League for a free agent workout last month. Like, they're working out guys who are like a 6'8" center, or like their highlights are them playing outside. Just like, I haven't seen enough news about actual draft workouts. Not that I'm like, oh, the 30th pick, it could be Jokic or something like that. But like, the only real one they've done is like Lamont Butler. Like, am I freaking out too much about these, or like, I don't know. I don't understand it at this point.
I like that you're this in the weeds on it. I appreciate it.
I'm very much in the weeds on it, honestly.
This is how locked in you need to be on a 30th pick.
Does everyone else's Reddit page have the same workouts going on that the Clippers are doing?
I checked it. No one's working out. Like, shout out Dominic Dar. Like, no one else is working out Dar. No one else is working out 6'3" guys who average 2.2 stocks in the Malaysian league. Like, maybe I'm putting too much stock in it. Wait, so
dare to be different.
Did anyone dare us to be different? Do we have to do this?
We dared ourselves, bleeding our own blood.
Yeah, I think they did work out a Filipino prospect at some point, because that was kind of a crazy, like, if you're doing the countries are doing, it does feel kind of crazy to not work out someone from the Philippines. So I am reading too much into it, and I just need to just relax, and the 30th pick is going to be fine.
Or traded.
Maybe it's traded. What does Norman the 30th get us? Okay, I do like this note from Gregory. It has to be the agents taking over, because it's so funny. If you go to the Clippers subreddit, it is hilarious. All right, so I'm reading too much into it. I did see we got tipped off to a prospect whose name I'm going to share the screen here because I can't pronounce this name, and I don't want to try because I don't think I could do it. This guy in the Serbian league. I'm not mad at it.
So young.
Yeah, why not? He's 20 years old. He's averaging 14, 7, and 3 in the Serbian league last year. They think he'll be good from 3 in the NBA. He's mocked at 35, but like, Will, I don't know about you. If you're mocked from 35, you could probably go 30, and I don't think people would be upset, right?
No, I don't think so.
You
go anywhere.
63% true. He could go anywhere. He could even go top 10. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Somebody wrote it down on a piece of paper and put it in their pocket before the draft.
Yeah, you pancake eating motherfucker. So like he's got this true shooting. Like, I don't know. He shoots. It's not high volume, obviously, but he can shoot and he's young. Like, who says no here? Oh my God, let me turn this volume down. Like, why not?
Give me that or the Yale guy.
This is something that plagued Anderson in
I'd
the
take Yale guy for sure. But I was checking the Yale guy. He's mocked higher. Yale guy is mocked like, but Adam, here's a question. If you're mocked 20th, could you also go 30th?
Yeah, guys could drop that far for sure,
cutoff?
especially
Like,
with the unknowns in this draft.
Yeah, I think 20th, being mocked 20th is the cutoff for you could kind of go anywhere. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to the prospects.
From everything I've heard, 1 through 9, cool. We know what's going on. We know who could be drafted there. We know who the top 2 picks already are. And after 9, things get a little bit hazy.
9.
And that's that because guys are staying in college because they can make more with NIL, and next year's draft's going to be much deeper, but this year's going to be thinner at the back half of the first round. So I don't know. There could be teams taking some real chances. There could be guys who really drop.
You talk about taking a chance. Why don't the Clippers take a chance on Dominic Dar?
Was that the 5'6" guy?
That's who you want with 30?
I want Dominic Dar at 30. He averaged 14 at a community college on 37% field goal percentage. They liked him. They had faith. That usage is crazy.
Church League legend.
Maybe. There was someone in the YouTube comments who said that he was a substitute teacher for their health class at one point in high school, which was really funny.
That's sick.
All right, another thing that's happening, there's not a whole bunch happening with the Clippers. The Clippers are a betting favorite to land Terry Rozier, which is ironic if you know anything about Terry Rozier's recent off-the-court situation. He's part of a huge gambling probe. He's a $26 million expiring deal. He's very bad. And again, he's being investigated into a gambling probe. This isn't happening, right? Like, the Clippers would have to get a first-round pick to take this contract on. Am I wrong?
They'd have to get something. They definitely have to get a younger player out of it. And they were interested in him a couple of years ago, reports said. I wouldn't totally put it past him. Plus, he's only 30. It's, can you revive his career as well? I don't buy into the numbers that all of a sudden he is that bad since he left Charlotte. And then like the second half of that season was really bad in Miami, and it continued last season too. He's probably not that bad. It's just for whatever reasons, it's a fit issue.
Yeah, well, if you can't fit in with the Heat culture, what we know is the pinnacle of professional sports environment. Where can you fit? I don't actually believe that. Would you need a first round pick to take Terry Rozier
on? Yeah, solely because of the fit and the guards and like just the glut of guards we already have.
Yeah. Also,
who's going out?
And they're not giving us Ware. There's no way that they're giving us Ware in the Terry Rozier deal. I would love that, but that's not going to happen.
Jaime Jaquez back to SoCal. I wouldn't hate that.
I'd be fine with that. But yeah, what do we trade them? Because we have to give them $26 million in contract.
I would say Norm.
Is that Norman Bogey?
That's 36. Isn't that closer to 36?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're taking on a
Norman.
rookie too, so yeah, that would work. That might work depending on who you're taking back.
I think he might be starting in the backcourt next to Harden if they brought him in.
Damn.
Is that wild?
I would hate that.
I called him in the past, like, premier Reggie Jackson with his style of play, but it obviously hasn't looked good the last year and a half.
Yeah, and does the gambling probe scare you guys off at all for maybe trading for a player who might?
I'm not gonna do it twice.
If there's one thing about
you already got it out of the way.
If there's one thing
if
about
anything, I'm more worried about every player who hasn't been busted in a gambling probe because
that.
it's just waiting to happen.
I like that.
The thing is, they set the precedent of MPJ's brother got banned for life, right?
Yeah.
So, and they could afford to do that with him because he wasn't a big name and they could make him the example. But now the point was to scare everyone else away from ever doing that. This is from a game in like 2023, I think, where Terry Rozier left the game early with an injury and there were an inordinate amount of bets on him to go over in that game.
I would argue that here's the thing about a gambling addiction. Maybe it usurps the real world consequences of what you're into. Right? Like Jonte Porter, like he did not need to. It was like a $50,000 bet, and he had like a $2 million a year salary. Like, it's not. I don't know. I don't want
anyone may be waiting. Teams could be waiting to see how that investigation goes.
But Rozier, I guess
that's a weird line.
Yeah. If he's expiring, doesn't that kind of also fit with the Clippers timeline though? Because like if he's expiring, then he's just off the team and we like get a first round pick or a useful player out of it.
Yeah, if they have to give him up, they have to add something to entice teams to take him at this point.
Yeah.
Especially too, like Will, like if we're,
you think they're gonna give up a first?
That seems like a lot. The Clips would have to get a player because we're giving up guys that we need everyone on this roster who is like tradable, right? Like
anybody of any value, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like we overpunched a little bit last season, a little bit, not a lot, but 50 wins is a very good season for that roster that we had. So anyone we give up is like we're losing a little bit, like in terms of utility.
Yeah. Let's see what happens with this one.
And also, this goes back to the thing. I think we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago of like the Clippers are the betting favorite. So like at this point, it's just like people were like, oh, maybe the Clippers need Terry Rozier. Like betting. People listening to this, betting favorites are not indicative of where a player is going. I would say in almost any way.
Yeah. Is it just based off the fact that they were interested in him a couple of years ago? Is that why he's the betting favorite with the Clippers? I don't know.
Right. Will, how much money did you put on this? You put your nest egg on this, right?
Yeah. You know me. I'm not gonna have a shirt at all if we if this doesn't happen. But like. Yeah, they have to send out something of value because, honestly, Norm plus Bogey for Terry Rozier salary to match and a first-round pick, to me, is not enough.
I mean,
it's not enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
For what the Clippers need as well.
Right,
like
yeah, taking into account.
If it's like Dunn and Bogey or like, because you don't need Dunn and Rozier on the same team. They should never share the court together.
But they would. Have you considered that?
But to lose Norm, which, you know, he has his flaws as a player, but provides something that this team needs.
Scoring.
And Bogey, who had his ups and downs, but I think, you know, I think with a little bit more time, I think that they could find a fit for that. But yeah, that's like, that doesn't seem like enough value to me.
You're a shrewd GM, which I appreciate. Pat Riley calls you
one
like,
first round pick, and it's the Heat, so it's not like it's not a top 10 pick.
It's not going to be a great pick.
And you're gonna lose, like you're gonna win 30 games that season, maybe. Like you're probably gonna win 35 games that season. So you're gonna have a shit season, and like you get a middle, like you know, you get like maybe it's a lottery pick. I doubt it.
Well, all this betting talk has scared me out of here, guys. I'm gonna peace out.
Adam, thank you for popping in. Enjoy NorCal. You are in Sacramento. You are not in the Bay, which everyone knows there's a difference. Hope the party's fun.
No bats, no Bay Area tools here.
All right. Let's go A's. Let's go Sacramento A's.
Been A's for years. All right. Be good, guys.
See you, buddy.
Later.
All right. Nova Writer had this take that they said that everyone would dislike. If we aren't buying medium on John Collins with Norm's contract, and Norm wants an extension within the $30 million range, then there's a real argument to try and go get DeMar.
No one's giving Norm $30 million.
I do hate that idea, Nova Writer. DeMar DeRozan, where DeMar and Kawhi on the same team? What does that do to our space?
It's fun. It's funny.
It's very funny. We would be Team California. We would be the most like you got like we're Team SoCal all the way if that happens. But the spacing would be atrocious.
I don't like the spacing. I don't like the defense. What's a winning team with DeMar on it?
You add Chris Dunn to the starting lineup and Norm, so you're starting 4 guards. You got Zoo out there. He can guard 3 through 5. We're kind of good.
No, I'm not a
fan. Will, how excited are you for this 30th pick? Will this make a difference? Is this the least consequential pick the Clippers have had in some time?
Haven't all of them been in the 2-1-3 era? Any pick that we've controlled the rights to?
This one feels even less important, if that makes sense, for some reason to me. Nova Writer is saying you really don't think there's a way that Norm can find a $28 to $30 million extension with some team. I don't know, man. That's a lot of money.
How many years are left? How many years are left on his deal right now? Because he's 32.
I guess here's my question. Did Lou Will ever get 30 mil? Because I think Lou Will is kind of the archetype of where Norm is at. But I don't think he only scores. I love Norm, but all he does is score. And I'm not saying this team needs scoring. We all know that.
And he doesn't always even do that.
But he plays pretty good free safety defense, but they've never had him run the pick and roll. Like, he just doesn't do enough. Like, Lou Will was part of the most efficient pick and roll at one point of all time with Trez. And, like, Norm can't do that. I don't think. Maybe he can. We haven't seen it, but.
I don't know. He's 32. He'll be 33 at the end of the season. So I don't know, man. More than 4 for 100 for a guy who's 33 years old and likely like a 6-man type of role on a championship team. Like
I do respect.
You think he gets more than 4 for 100?
I do respect Nova Writer
33 years old
saying I don't like it either. That's fair. Goofy Oz saying this pick feels more important since it's going to be a player going forward from the Kawhi era. That's why I'm saying it's not important because it's the last pick. Like this, so he's going to be in the G League this year probably, and then there's another year of Kawhi. So I don't know.
No, they're going to be in the starting lineup. taking Norm's spot.
Yeah.
We gotta drive. We gotta drive down the value.
We get that Yale guy on here, it's over. Ghost says one of the best players to watch in Clippers history getting compared to Norm. Well, that's what the archetype is, right? Like pure scorers who don't. I mean, Lou's defense was worse than Norm's, but they effectively
he was older.
Yeah, but they do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like just in terms of contract stuff. Like
no, Lou Williams passed.
That's true. He is the only player to have a 30-point triple-double off the bench, right? Against Chicago. The snow game. I'm going to do some research on that real quick.
And with the Clippers, he made 7, 8, and 8.
Right. Like, if Lou can't... Yeah, so Lou Williams has one triple-double.
Cap was different then, though, for sure, too.
Yeah. Lou has one triple-double in his career, and it is off. It's a 31-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist triple-double, I believe, off the bench against Chicago. When the Clippers were all snowed in and everything. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first bench. He's the only person who will ever do that. I think we can safely say. Can you think of any other bench player who could get a 30-point triple-double? God, Lou Williams ruled so hard. Great call. That Mexican Nara. Lou was a passer. See, so what I'm saying is Lou Williams did more than Norm Powell. So this is a very long way to say something that both Will and I agree on, which is Norm Powell will not be getting $28 million per year. It is weird to think about the Norm trade because a lot of people who want to trade Norm are like, well, Norm can get us a first-round pick and some value. And you're like, I don't think he can. Like a first-round from a contender. So a team, again, kind of will, to your point, that like won't be bad.
Yeah. It's not a lottery pick.
It's not a lotto pick. And if everything
the front office, very late first rounder. And so here's the thing that Will and I were talking about, that if anyone can answer would be great. If you're a team that's going to compete, right? And you're like, oh, we're going to be not a play-in team. We're going to be in the playoffs. And you really believe in it, and you just say, F it, will be in the second apron, and your pick's going to be the 30th or whatever it is. Like, what if we trade Norm and we end up getting a team that is in that second apron hell, right? Like, is that how that works? You know what I'm saying? Totally. I could see you getting a first-round pick for Norm in that type of scenario where it's like, we don't care about this pick. It's, it's likely going to be 25 through 30.
Yeah.
Here's a first-round pick.
We're over this, like a team already over the second apron who really wants to make a run, gives you their first for Norm, which is going to be the 30th pick, no matter what.
Yeah.
That makes shit weird too. And if we're wrong, please put it in the comments. I'm sure we're not totally accurate, but it feels like something teams would do. Nova Rider's onto something. They say they bring it up because I don't know what the realistic best case scenario for a Norm trade is. It's literally just John Collins or being put into a bigger deal for a third star. Yeah. That's kind of accurate. Like, there's not a lot of like wiggle room right now. The free agent class is bad.
And Suns are second apron, right?
Yeah, I looked at him and was like, I love this logic so much. Clippers' preference as of late has always been a player with at least an all-star appearance. Collins has not made an all-star game. Get him off your list, everybody.
What, does dunk contest do anything for you? He dunked over an airplane, I believe.
He dunked over an airplane. That was a cool dunk, tribute-wise. Okay, I'm going to look up the Suns' payroll, which means I have to type, so I'm going to mute.
I'm positive I'm positive they're over the second apron.
Well, you just have to vamp for like 15 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm positive that the Suns are over the second apron, so they can't aggregate salaries to come back. So that's like another thing that's going to make the KD move very weird. Very weird.
Okay, I'm back.
Because you can't aggregate salaries. So
they are, per this, I would say, incredibly extensive post. They are $7 million over the second apron, with or without a KD trade. So they are like locked into that second apron. They've been so messy in the kitchen. They have fully put the second apron on.
Okay, but
So
you can still send it out. You can still send out multiple salaries. You just can't do business with another second apron team, basically.
well,
So
you can't aggregate salaries in a trade.
no, but they can, like, we could aggregate salaries going out. They just couldn't
we
take
could.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, the Clippers could. Yeah.
So we could combine smaller contracts to take on KD's. Like they can take on more small contracts that are equal. They just can't aggregate salary going out.
They couldn't trade for Harden if he was making $80 million by putting guys together. Yeah.
Which makes things difficult too if you want to involve a third team, because then it just gets really messy.
So here's the thing too. If you stay over the second apron, if it's your third year over the second apron, that's when your first round pick is frozen, the year after that. The 2032 first round pick is frozen. And that pick slides the 30th overall. So this is so weird, dude. I don't understand how this shit's going to work. Because some team's going to figure out how to take advantage of this, where they're not in the second apron, and then somehow they trade a first round pick that's 4 years down the line. And I don't know. So they are firmly a second apron team. Like that is, and KD doesn't want to go to the Wolves or whatever. I don't know, man. They're fucked. That's awesome. I hate the Suns.
Yeah, apparently they weren't fist fighting now.
That I do believe. That would be insane, dude. Like a team,
and we would have heard about it.
Dude, 100%.
We would have heard about it during the season.
Someone in that locker room would have said something. This is my issue too with like NBA fandom in general is so like online, including the media. You know what I mean? Like it's a very Twitter heavy, like social media based media thing. And so like when ex players do things like lie, like when they're like the Suns were fighting, or like I could score 81 points, it actually seems easy. Everyone, because they're so online.
In today's league?
Exactly. Everyone, because they're so online, just like digests it. And then it's like, well, that was a crazy thing to say. And you're like, yes, but none of this is true. Like,
yeah.
And it's also such a formula where it's like, oh, you don't play in the big three, or you just got kicked out of the Puerto Rican league because you were like losing it with fans. Just go on a podcast and lie a bunch. And then maybe you'll get the Kendrick Perkins job. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like the pipeline is just lie. Like, just lie a bunch. And
I like it.
And we'll put you on TV. Nova Ryder brings up a good point. I find it funny, KD he didn't back off. He was just like, I don't want smoke with you specifically, which is fair. That's a business decision that I think was correct. I don't know. Will, do you have any thoughts on how the Clippers offseason? How are you feeling? I feel bleak, and I think maybe that's just because the world in LA is crazy right now, and the team is kind of just probably running it back next year.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the world. There's not a whole lot to be necessarily excited about. Running back the same roster, but a little bit older. The things to look forward to are, Zoo maintaining this momentum. I mean, we still do have a top center in the league, which, absolutely. Is like, unless they're at a Jokic level, isn't going to win you a championship, but it's still a nice feather to have in your cap. And who knows what if we did do something with 30? Like, what if we even got a rotation level player? Can you imagine how exciting even just that would be? Can you imagine how exciting a rookie who got any amount of time would be on this squad of old wild hogs?
That is a great point. Honestly, like, they
don't even have to be that good. Just if they were like, if they could get
better than Jordan Miller is the threshold right now.
If they could regularly soak up 5-7 minutes a game, like, could you imagine? I would be over the moon. I would be over the fucking moon.
Dude, if we got a guy who like, whoa, like X center that the Clippers drafted might be able to chip in, like you said, 8 minutes a game. Dude, that would be I've never thought about how low my bar is for like draft excitement.
Well, but we just
That would be
haven't had
tight as hell.
an exciting young guy in a while. I feel like can we just get that much? Like they don't even have to be a future All-Star MVP caliber guy. If we had somebody who could play, if we had somebody, if we had somebody who could play a rookie who could play even a little bit on a regular basis, I'd be over the moon, buddy. I'd get the jersey immediately.
And the thing that's rough is like, because the Clippers haven't drafted a center, or like, you know what I mean? Like I know that we host the Clippers podcast. I could not tell you who the San Diego Clippers center was last year. So I'm sorry for that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to be good enough. Like, it would be awesome if the Clippers somehow, maybe I am excited for the 30th pick. Maybe me being in the weeds about these workouts was correct, because this is an important thing.
And you never know. I mean, like, that's not the most insane outcome ever.
You never know.
It seems doable.
You never know.
It will happen, but it's doable.
But we do have a body of work from the Clippers draft lab that does tilt
draft
us a
Shea.
little bit. That is absolutely correct. Nova Ryder is a Cam Christie believer. A lot of people believe in Cam Christie, kind of around, I would say, around the team too. That's some scuttlebutt we've heard, is that people like Cam Christie.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
Yeah. Also, like Goofy I was saying in the chat, there are some teams in the Western Conference in a much worse spot. So I guess be glad you're not them is something to look forward to during the season too.
That's the other funny thing too, because it's like people are like, let's blow it up. Let's do this other thing. I'm like, so if you hate watching this team when they're losing or when they're winning 50 games, and like, yeah, they're not going to win the championship.
Wait, people hated watching this team during the regular season?
Well, the idea of the team that is going
stretches.
But you know what I'm saying? They hate the team that's going to be competitive in the regular season, but ultimately you know that in the playoffs, the deck is stacked against you, I guess. People have voiced concern against that. I'll tell you what, I don't want to see a team suck ass and not have a draft pick. All right, we have a super chat from Jimmy Williams. You think Zoo is the only untradeable Clipper? Untraceable. Yes. Honestly, I might wait. Hold on. This is a two-part question. We're going to take the first part, which is as written. Untraceable. I think Kawhi might be the only untraceable Clipper, but I think Zoo might be too. Will, agree or disagree?
I agree, but I think Zoo is maybe the most untraceable. He's got all sorts of foreign contacts, and he can.
That's true. He's away.
He could disappear pretty easy if he wanted to.
Yeah. Dude, a Bourne reboot with Zoo as Bourne would be pretty sick. The Zoo identity
doesn't make any sense. He can't blend in anywhere.
Well, the bit is
part of espionage is like not sticking out a whole bunch. I think.
Wait, no, the bit is everyone going, "You're a Vitsa Zubats," and he just can't remember. So and then Jimmy Williams, thank you by the way for this super chat. He said he amended it untradeable. In terms of a realistic deal for the Clippers, if they can't, I think he's untradeable outside of like a Giannis deal. But I'm going to be honest, if you trade Zoo, there's the center rotation is garbage. Like, it is the worst in the league. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's a very good point. Okay, so we'd be better than the Suns at the center, but would you say he's untradeable?
Looking at the contracts, I mean, he's set up to be like the only player under contract. So, you know, that would be some indication to me that yes, they do plan on moving forward with him. I think he's also, though, like we're talking about, like he is the most attractive option in terms of a rebuild. Like if you want to get some sort of first round picks,
especially
even,
now.
or like even get some of your picks back, which I don't see happening. But yeah, I would say he's largely untradeable unless they fully decide to hit the reset button and they have some sort of fire sale. But I just think with the new arena and stuff, like I don't think they have any intention of like fielding a non-competitive team. I don't think they have any interest in fielding a team that can't win 43 games at like, which is in the Western Conference. I mean, I know that's like, it doesn't sound that impressive, but like, it's not easy.
And he's also so in this current iteration, right? So he makes no money for the value and what he brings to the Clippers. He makes $18 million next year, 19 and a half the year after that, 27, 28, it's $21 million. He's under contract for 3 more seasons.
Yeah.
At an incredibly good deal. So like, I think he's untradeable.
Yeah. And they're going to,
I like this point. From type your name how it's supposed to be pronounced. Starting the season with a fully healthy team, Kawhi included, and still consider an underdog. I'm good with that. I like that. Kawhi's healthy.
Is it Mick Excellent?
Ooh, are you related to Jim Legacy? I like this take because sometimes I do have to like we got the fully healthy training camp. No one's actually hurt, which is unfortunately a huge deal for this Clippers team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I guess I'm kind of grim on it just in terms of I'm watching the finals right now, and so
right now,
like this second, I got the script, so I'm thumbing through that.
You paid some high school basketball players to reenact Game 7, so you're locked in.
Yeah, I'm thumbing through the script right now.
Mick Excellent. Okay, MK Excellent. Thank you, MK Excellent. Sorry. Are you related to Jim Legacy? Does anyone know who Jim Legacy is in the chat?
I forgot even what the hell I was talking about. Oh, I'm watching the final. So like, there's just no path as currently constructed for the Clippers to get there. So I guess I'm a little bit down on that. But this was a hell of a fun regular season, and I actually like. I need to recheck in on it because I feel like I've soured on it because of the way that things ended. But there were some rough times, but overall, it was a lot of fun along the way.
Are you gonna rewatch all 82 before next season?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, run it back. I got every tape on VHS. Kane Carter saying, "Come up with Kawhi trades." I don't know what Kawhi's value is. I mean that, and I mean this in a respectful way. I saw the Desmond Bane trade. I don't know I don't know enough about every team to know what Kawhi is worth, and I mean that respectfully. Is there a team that would give us 2 firsts for Kawhi? Maybe, but they're probably I don't know how it works. I also don't know what his value is because I think this year showed that he, as you brought up, Will, can't be your number 1 in the playoffs. Because he was the number 1 for the Clippers for 1.5 games.
Yeah.
He played like a number 1, I should say. We love Kawhi.
Just the league is it's too young right now. It's too physical. It's too fast. Love Kawhi. Do I think he could be a contributor on a championship team? For sure.
Obviously.
But not as a number 1.
And that therein lies the problem with like what do the Clippers value? Like he signed less than a max too, which is great in a vacuum for trade value, but you're like, but it like what? I don't know. It's a difficult thing to come up with trade scenarios for other than like per the rules trades that just like work because we like them to.
But it's a long off season. I'm sure we'll have to devote an episode to that at some point.
Will's hyped. We are going to be devoting an episode to whoever
the makes me sleepy.
It's your tryptophan, trade-to-fan. I think that about wraps it up. Will, do you have any other large takes you would like to shoot off about the Clippers and don't elaborate them at all before we head out?
shimmer, glitter, sizzle. Los Angeles Clippers, 25-26.
If that's the logo, if that's the slogan, and they go more like, for some reason they lose their minds, and we're going for more of a golden age of Broadway.
I was thinking glam, like 70s glam rock kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, that's tight. Okay, I like that idea. All right, we're gonna do a live after the draft on the 25th, when the Clippers inevitably pick the next Jokic stopper, the next Giannis imitation, whoever they pick at 30th. We all know is going to be great. They've done very well on these late round picks before. Will, where can these people find us? Because we are going to put this out on audio. And in addition, where they can find us, where could they maybe watch us if they want to?
Yeah, you can catch these streams live. You can hop in, be part of the combo over on YouTube.com. That's at Clippers Podcast. We're also wherever you get your podcasts, over on it's raining on Charles right now, over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. But yeah, thanks for checking us out. I know it's the off season, but let's go Clippers fans.
Let's go Clippers fans. If you're watching this in the off season, you are legit. Like I said, we'll be back on the 25th. Thank you everyone for hanging out. Thank you for Adam Osland for doing the stream from his car. Not new, but we always appreciate it. We will be back